welcome to Dynamite Delight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I get started, I wish to say that there will be a video after this. It's unusual for me to do two sets of videos after doing a review of one of the shows that I watch. But due to the fact I did get two people who gave me a little bit of an idea of a new name for what I used to call Debate of the Week, I will be trying it out. Of course, I don't have no intro for it yet, and I will be working on that if I am going to go through with this. But if I do, you will see periodically a new show where it's just basically about some information about what's going on in wrestling. Any little bit or a little bigger bit, whatever, it will be something maybe that other channels are covering, but it'll have a little bit of a, well, let's be honest, I'm not the most accurate of wrestling reviewers or podcasters, so you're just going to get some that's my point of view that's botchy as hell and hopefully fun. That's what you're going to get. So what do we get this before? Well, I've been getting a lot of stuff on my mind lately, so if I seem a little off, I'm sorry. Revolution this Sunday. What do we get before it? A very heavy packed show that in some places look bad. Some places look great. Some places that are interesting. This is just me. That you guys, you may have loved the entire show, but as far as I'm concerned, certain things just sucked. Certain parts were good, great, and others were predictable and unpredictable. Let's open with, we were anticipating this match for months. How is it going to go down? Jade Cargill, I always say Cargill, and Shaq versus Cody and Red Velvet. They're in my face. It's in my face, and this was the longest, one of the longer matches of the show. And I'm saying this. I'm not gonna lie. At first, when I saw Shaq in the ring, the way he acted in the first 2 minutes was funny, cool. I was all right with it. Then you could see that he didn't practice at all in wrestling. Yes, he did a nice power bomb to a Cody Rhodes, mostly due to the fact Cody looks like his 7-year-old kid. But does not mean he went and practiced in wrestling. He got a few ideas of how to do the moves, and he practically acted like Great Gonzalez. I'm sorry, guys. If you think Great Gonzalez is a great wrestler that faced The Undertaker, I forgot which WrestleMania it was. It wasn't. It was a bad match with Great Gonzalez. And when you see Shaq here, he wasn't that good at all. Then came the big freaking question. Jade Cargill. You got her in my face. Just gorgeous hunk of woman. A woman that I truly hope the man that she's with is still with her. That bared her children. Because next to her being willing to break your bones if you're pissed off because she's built well enough to do it. Who wants to hurt the feelings of a woman that, generally speaking, I saw some of the podcasts that she did with Shivani and I keep forgetting that Edwards' his first name, but she did a podcast and she seemed like a genuinely good person that got a lot of attitude, but she's a genuinely good person. I hope the guy she's with did not fuck her over, because next to getting his butt whooped, if he isn't a big guy, nobody wants to break that woman's heart. But taking away how gorgeous a woman is and how strong and thick this woman is cannot take away what I saw in that ring. Within the first 10 seconds, when she kicked a Red Velvet in the stomach, I saw it instantly that she was green. She did not know how to really do a match very well. Anyone else, they can say, well, she looked good. To me, no. She is all eye candy. She's got the muscles like a China. She has the look of a China, just a lot more better looking in certain parts of her body. And I'm not taking anything away from Laura. No, Laura wasn't a bad looking woman. And I'm not going to lie, I did see her in porn. She, before her death, that is China in a nutshell. She had it. But taking away from that, she worked like China when she first started out. That is what I got in this match. I don't care if she's worked 2, 3, 5, or 8 years in the business. The way she performed in the ring was heavily telegraphed, and it looked sloppy. It did. Flat out to me. That's just my point of view. I'm just saying it. Anyone else, you're going to hear they said probably she wasn't too bad, or they may say she might have been good. For me personally, the first 10 seconds, I knew this one was green, and she didn't know what most of she was doing, and she telegraphed most of her work. That did not look good. Particularly that you're going to understand in this type of match, just like when it came to Cody and it came to Shaq. Cody had to do the heavy lifting of the match. He had to let Shaq do his moves on him and had to make it look menacing. That Shaq was too big of a guy to easily take down. When it came to Jade, she saw way too much and she looked weak. You have Red Velvet. Yes, she's actually a good wrestler, but she shouldn't have been able to get so much offense on a Jade Cargill. I'm sorry. This is a bigger ass woman that should be a lot more easier to deal with. And yes, there were certain points she did pretty well, doing a lot of power moves, but still she looked sloppy. One of the best moments of the entire match is when Cody jumps over the top turn rope and then Shaq and him goes through 2 tables. And that seems sloppy. That just showed me there that she's not used to doing tables. And that is Jade. She set up the first table. She looked sloppy at it. Then Velvet, who doesn't look like she does tables much either, and she looked a little sloppy at it. But then you have Cody jumping over the top turn rope and then taking out Shaq, who had got laid out, and Jade Cargill, and I believe she won. Yep, Shaq and Jade did win because Jade managed to get her best move off on a Red Velvet finally. But then you had Shaq go into an ambulance and then flat out disappear. He's gone. Now, maybe one of 3 things. 1, he walked away from it, and this story is not over. 2, he basically is part of Dark Order, or somebody is taking him and turned him in some way. And 3, I don't know. This is up in the air. That's just what I'm thinking. Either he got up and walked on his own, he got taken in by Dark Order or somebody else, or it's a completely different way they're going, and I don't know where it's going. That's it. Now, we had Pac and Phoenix go up against Jobbers, which was Skylar and D3. They destroyed them in less than a few seconds. I think it was due to the fact that that match lasted a lot longer than it should have, and they had to shorten that match and destroy them, which they did. And that was not good to see. To see a professional wrestler like Pac have to rush through his match. I'm sorry. Death Triangle shouldn't have to be rushing. And that's how that match felt. That's just me, guys. Tell me below. Now, the press conference of MJF and Y2J with the Inner Circle by their side. It was interesting. We had several people come in asking questions, including Eric. He's in my face. You never get tired of Eric Bischoff. Never get tired of Eric. And he asked him, so how do you feel about pissing off the Bucks and lighting a fire on them when you know better than anybody you should not be doing that if you're going to try and go for a championship? You don't give them a reason to get really angry. And throughout most of that conference, they were putting under the Bucks, putting the dad under the Bucks. Well, under the bus, not the Bucks. You see, there's a lot on my mind. I'm trying to get things done, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to explain. But you see how they're trying to sell the pay-per-view as well as the Bucks. Bucks come out. They put over their daddy. Say what their daddy did for them. And pretty much the fight breaks out. A full-blown fight breaks out. And pretty much, if I remember correctly, you had the Good Brothers coming out and helping them out. Which, fine. But as I've said in my Impact reviews, seeing only Good Brothers on AEW sucks. I'm sorry, it does. And it makes me even more worried about Impact Wrestling. I'm just saying. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Now, Jurassic Express with all 3 members versus FTR and Telly. Now, mind you, the last time Telly wrestled was 32 years ago. around 1989. I was 18 years, no, yeah, I was 18 years old the last time he wrestled. I was 18, 32 years ago. I'm 50 now. That tells you something, how long his ass has been in the ring. I mean, out of the ring. I think the reason I'm botching here is this. I think they should have saved this for the pay-per-view. I'm being honest here. Jurassic Express dealing with Telly and FTR should have been saved for the pay-per-view because this is something special. You got J.J. Dillon coming out. He doesn't usually do it often. Not for one of the older wrestlers like himself. And I truly believe this should have been done there, particularly at the end of that match, because FTR did win. Did FTR win? I can't remember. I think they did win. Who was it that won? Wait a minute. I think FTR did win. I cannot remember. I think they did. Yeah, they did win. But here's the thing. Once that was over, and it was Spears. Yeah, it was FTR that won. Spears was the one who was in the cameraman clothes and helped them out. He actually nailed, I believe it was Jungle Boy in the back. He nailed him. Once it was over and they got up the ramp, it was, how could you do it there on television where you got Telly Blanchard, you got J.J. Dillon, and then Art on his own comes out. He's not told to come out. He comes out. He looks at Telly. He looks at FTR, Wheeler and Dash, and then he looks at Spears, and then he goes like this. How can you do this on normal TNT television instead of making it special and doing it on the pay-per-view and indicating, he could have said, we're back, baby. And it's Telly who's doing the job instead of Rick. Because remember, Rick did it with Telly and with the others back in the 80s. Then Evolution, and it was Rick who put over the Batista, the Randy Orton, the Triple H, to really cement them as main eventers, really elevating them. Why not at the pay-per-view? I do not agree with this. This was wrong. For me, it was wrong. Now, Big Show comes out. Because we finally get Big Show. He comes out wearing a shirt saying, no more BS. And he is with Tony Schiavone. And he said they talked about AEW Dark Elevation. That's the next show that's coming out, other than, I believe they're still doing Dark, but Elevation is to show that people you can't normally see. And he says, raise your hand if you saw this turn coming. I'm not saying it wasn't funny, but it does go with what's going on in social media. No one expected Big Show to go to AEW. No one expected it. If you saw my video on this, because that was afterward, it should be there. I think I named it what? I forgot what I called it now because I've been thinking about a lot of stuff lately. I thought about what Big Show is going to contribute to AEW. As long as they book him correctly, he could be a very good contributor. But here is what he said. He said he'll be working on Elevation, and he said at the pay-per-view, and I will be elaborating it more in the other video. But he does say clearly that a Hall of Fame class talent, not a Hall of Famer, a worthy Hall of Famer. Remember, what he said is a Hall of Famer that's coming there, a talent that is worthy of the Hall of Fame, is coming and is signing to AEW. Now, I'll elaborate more on the next video with that. It's curious. Now, Nyla Rose versus Mizunami. I think that's her name. Ryo Mizunami. As the final match that will lead to Shida at Revolution. Now, here's the thing, guys. Was the two people picked good? No. Look, I love me Nyla Rose. She's not a bad talent. She's got personality. I do like her. But if you're going to be honest, it should have been either Thunder Rosa or it could have been Britt Baker. You guys know how I feel about Britt Baker. I never said she was 100% trash in the ring. She was not always good, but she has improved. It's her character I don't like. I think she just should have stayed a dentist instead of the role model of a division that doesn't work. Now, was this a good match? It wasn't 100% bad. Some of the crowd did get into it. That was also most of the wrestlers. They did have 1,000 people there next to the wrestlers, but I think it was most of the wrestlers and a few of the people. I knew from the very beginning that Mizunami was going to win. You see how I'm bad with names. Mizunami won. I wasn't surprised because they weren't going to use her. They weren't going to use Nyla Rose because she's already gone up against her. And to be honest, since the one who's booking this is Kenny, he's going to be putting over more Japanese wrestlers than he would American or European or Mexican wrestlers. And I'm not saying that he doesn't care about them, but New Japan is now really having a more prominent moment in AEW, so they're going to do it. They're going to. It would have been better if it maybe been an Impact wrestler that could have been added next to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Why couldn't they have added in Dana Purrazzo along with the Japanese wrestlers? That would show their connection to Impact Wrestling more, but they didn't go there. They're only stuck with their own people and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I found to be not right for me personally. Mizunami will probably do a good job at there they are on my face. And that's where Mizunami smacks her when she gets a chip that gets why did it have to be a cup? But she got a cup. She smacks Sheeta in the face. Sheeta beats her up. It just doesn't lead anywhere. I'm sorry. Sheeta has no personality, no story, nothing. She's booked like a Japanese wrestler that has no story. And that sucks for me personally. Now, the Sting interview. And then it was interesting to see Starks come out and give Sting respect. But he still smacks his ass and then gets laid out by Sting. And then you got Team Taz coming out. And then you have Darby Allin coming out. And then you now have the build up into the street fight. I think I got a shot in my face. I'm not sure. It's just, they were trying to get everything in. Like what they did at the end of the show. I will give my thoughts about this. But I think they didn't need to do it, but then they needed to at the same time. I never liked these types of things when they have a fight afterward. But the thing is that I don't know if they're going to keep doing this all the time. So this could be a rarity. Or this could be commonplace. And if it's common, I never like seeing them fight every single time when they're doing a special segment. That's just me. You guys tell me below. 10 versus Caston from The Acclaim. Now, Caston sounded pretty good rapping. He didn't sound good the very first time I saw him. He sounded like he was nervous. And I believe he was a little nervous. So he didn't sound good. But here he sounds a lot better. Not saying he was perfect, but he sounded better. And you see -1. It looks like -1 is in the Dark Order more often than not. Maybe he's getting a tutor so he can stay with AEW and they're taking care of his mom and him and his younger brother. That's actually kind of a nice thing to see. They're watching out for Brody Lee's family. That really does make me feel good. If that's how they're doing, if the family, the Brody family, is actually most of the time with AEW, the mother's working there, the kids are being taken care of by a nanny, as well as -1 is getting a tutor. That's kind of good to see because particularly of what's going on. It wasn't a bad match. And this was the last match for the face of the Revolution match that's coming out in Revolution. We got Evans from TH2 attacking 10. And he's paid off by Matt, Money Matt, roughly about $4,200 to take him out because Matt wants to take out all the Dark Order. He made it very clear, no matter what, he's taking out Dark Order. He doesn't care. And that leads us into the final match, Paige and Quinn versus, and I'm not surprised to see Silver working with because Silver has such a good character, he is just a ball of fire right now. People really like him. Like I said, this guy is a sawed-off runt. He is Wolverine incarnate. This is what Wolverine is, a short guy. This Silver is Wolverine. And he has that feel. He's a sawed-off runt that doesn't back down from nothing. And that's how the match went. He mostly did the work. Then you got Paige doing the work. Quinn looked a lot better in the ring by himself. I mean, normally he's more better in a tag team, but when he's by himself, he's so-so. But this wasn't too bad of a match with Matt. Matt was mostly guiding him. In the end, we got Silver getting the pin. I believe it was it was Paige getting the pin. Then Silver and Paige get their butt kicked. Dark Order comes out to stop it. Then everyone else comes out, and it's a clusterfuck. It is basically everyone is going to be on the on Saturday and All In before Revolution, and their casino match, the Battle Royal, Casino Battle Royal. When it comes to those types of things, I just don't agree with them. Sometimes you can skip it instead of throwing everyone out there and then doing the end of the fight. I'm ended the show with the fight. Now, mind you, I actually like how they did it compared to what the WWE did. I really don't like seeing these things every single time, but in this situation, it wasn't bad because with the WWE, they're always going like this. I hate that. I despise it, and I think that got caught on my audio. But I had to demonstrate what I hate. Because when it comes to WWE, they always do that stupid zoom in and zoom out. You don't need to always do that. But WWE and Vince loves it. And it enrages me to see. So seeing this wasn't 100% bad, but I don't like seeing it all the time. If this is once a year, these Battle Royals, seeing this, okay. As long as they don't do too many Battle Royals and then do it like this, I will get pissed. If it's once a year they do the Battle Royal, and they do it like that, fine. It's only once a year. So what do I think of this show? It had a lot of stuff in it, and a lot of bad stuff in it. But it also had some pretty good stuff in it. And then we have a teaser. We don't know who this Hall of Fame worthy talent is. I will have my thoughts on the video I'm doing after this, so watch for it. And until you see it, have a good day, have a good night, peace.